Imagine if someone handed you a history book, but half the pages had been removed. You would never know what was missing. For many people, that's how African history has been presented. When Africa appears in textbooks, it's often through the lenses of colonization, slavery, or modern conflict. Those events are undeniably important, but they represent only a small fraction of a story that stretches back hundreds of thousands of years. Long before European empires crossed the continent, Africa was home to powerful kingdoms, thriving trade networks, remarkable architecture, centers of learning, and innovations that influenced the wider world. So why do so many of these stories remain unfamiliar? Welcome to Africa's History Untold. Today, we begin a journey to uncover the civilizations, leaders, discoveries, and achievements that deserve a place in the story of humanity. Because world history isn't complete until Africa's story is told. Chapter 1: The Cradle of Humanity. To understand Africa's history, we have to start where humanity itself began. Scientists overwhelmingly agree that the earliest members of our species evolved in Africa. Fossils, archaeological discoveries, and genetic evidence point to the continent as the birthplace of modern humans. From Africa, our ancestors spread across the globe, carrying with them the beginnings of every civilization that would eventually emerge. This means African history isn't separate from world history. It is world history. Yet many people only encounter Africa in history lessons when European exploration or colonization begins. Thousands of years of innovation, leadership, and cultural development are often compressed into only a few paragraphs or skipped entirely. But Africa's past is far richer than many people realize. Chapter 2: A Continent of Civilizations. Africa has never been a single story. It is home to thousands of cultures, languages, and traditions. Across the continent, civilizations rose and flourished. In West Africa, kingdoms controlled some of the world's most valuable gold trade routes. In East Africa, merchants connected Africa with Arabia, India, and Asia through bustling ports along the Indian Ocean. In the Northeast, powerful kingdoms rivaled their neighbors and became major centers of commerce and faith. Farther south, massive stone cities demonstrated extraordinary engineering and urban planning. These societies built governments, they developed legal systems, they created art, literature, and architecture. They established international trade long before many people imagined Africa entering the global stage. Gold, ivory, salt, iron, textiles, spices, and knowledge moved across deserts and oceans. Africa was not isolated. It was deeply connected to the wider world. Chapter 3: Why don't we hear more about this? If these civilizations were so influential, why aren't they more widely known? There isn't one simple answer. Many African societies preserved history through oral traditions rather than written records. Skilled storytellers, historians, and community elders passed knowledge from one generation to the next. These traditions preserved remarkable histories, but they were often undervalued by scholars who prioritized written documents. Centuries later, colonial governments frequently designed education systems that emphasized European history and perspectives. As a result, many African achievements received far less attention than those of other parts of the world. Modern historians and archaeologists have spent decades uncovering forgotten cities, translating ancient manuscripts, and documenting oral histories to build a fuller understanding of Africa's past. Each discovery reminds us that history is always evolving. The more we learn, the more complete the picture becomes. Chapter 4: Why this matters today. Understanding. Africa's history isn't about replacing one story with another. It's about completing the story. Knowing that Africa produced great empires, scholars, engineers, explorers, artists, and leaders helps us better understand the development of human civilization. It reminds us that innovation has never belonged to one continent. Great ideas have always emerged from many cultures. By learning these histories, we gain a deeper appreciation not only for Africa, but for humanity itself. Because every civilization has contributed something valuable to the world we live in today. Conclusion. This is only the beginning. Over the coming episodes, we'll travel across deserts, forests, mountains, and coastlines. We'll meet legendary rulers whose wealth amazed the world. We'll uncover cities that stood for centuries. We'll explore kingdoms that shaped global trade. We'll discover warriors, inventors, scholars, queens, and ordinary people whose stories deserve to be remembered. Some names you've never heard. Some stories may completely change the way you think about history, and every one of them is part of Africa's incredible past. If you're ready to uncover the history that too often goes untold, every week on Africa's History Untold, we'll explore the empires, kingdoms, leaders, and civilizations that helped shape the world. Because the world's history isn't complete without Africa's story. If you enjoyed this journey into Africa's past, subscribe and join us as we uncover the stories history too often leaves in the shadows. I'll see you in the next episode of Africa's History Untold.